Failure is not your enemy. It is the quiet teacher that most people ignore. When we fall, when we break, when we stumble, that is the moment life whispers its real lessons. Most people are afraid of this whisper. They run from it, they hide behind comfort. But the truth is, only by walking into failure can you see yourself without masks. Only then do you begin to understand the depth of your own strength. You see, a life without mistakes is a life without growth. The one who never fails never risks. The one who never risks never changes. And the one who never changes will never rise above mediocrity. When you allow failure to teach you, every setback becomes a seed. It plants wisdom, resilience, and patience deep within you. Every disappointment becomes a mirror showing you your habits, your fears, and your untapped potential. The great shift happens when you stop asking why this happened to me and start asking what can I learn from this. The moment you change that question, the energy of failure transforms. It is no longer a punishment. It becomes a guide. Like a master pointing you toward your own discipline, your own awareness, your own power. When you fall, do not rush to stand up without reflection. Sit in that moment. Feel its weight. Ask yourself where you lost focus, where your mind wandered, where your effort was scattered. Then, with a calm breath, rise again. This is how you build an unshakable spirit. Not by avoiding pain, but by walking through it with eyes open. Remember, failure is never permanent. It is movement. It is motion. It is part of a cycle. Today's defeat can become tomorrow's wisdom. Today's struggle can become tomorrow's strength. What matters is not the fall, but the way you return. Each return makes you sharper, steadier, and more disciplined. Do not treat failure as a shameful secret. Treat it as training. Every time you step outside your comfort zone, you will meet it again. This is good. It means you are alive, growing, and expanding. The deeper your struggle, the greater your chance to discover who you really are. Your character is not forged in the easy times. It is forged when everything feels heavy and you still choose to move forward. Let the failure teach you patience. Let it teach you humility. Let it teach you focus. Let it teach you compassion for yourself and for others. This is not weakness. This is real strength. A strong person does not only lift weight. A strong person lifts their own mind out of despair and back into clarity. Failure is not an end, but a silent guide showing where growth begins. When life throws challenges your way, it can feel as though the walls are closing in and your dreams are slipping further from reach. Yet in those moments of defeat lies a rare and powerful opportunity. It is easy to believe success is the best teacher, but success often only celebrates what you have already done. Failure, on the other hand, demands reflection. It slows you down and forces you to question your approach, your mindset, and your preparation. In that questioning, in that discomfort, you find the seeds of growth. This is the place where new skills are forged, where your character is built, and where your vision becomes sharper than ever before. When you experience a setback, your mind may want to label it as the end of the road. You may feel shame, disappointment, or self-doubt. But that is only the surface. Beneath the surface, something else is happening. You are being invited to pause, to look at what went wrong, and to uncover truths you would never have seen if everything had gone smoothly. Think of it as training for your inner world. Muscles only grow when they are stretched and broken down. In the same way, your inner strength only expands when it is tested by real failure. This is not a punishment. It is life's way of preparing you for the next stage of your journey. Most people do not want to hear this. They want the shortcut, the quick win, the easy road. But the easy road never teaches you who you are. It never develops patience or humility. It never reveals the deep patterns that may be holding you back. Only when you are knocked down and stripped of illusions do you truly see yourself. Only then can you rebuild, not from ego, but from clarity. And that clarity becomes your new foundation. Imagine a person who has never failed. They may appear confident, but their strength is untested. They may succeed for a time, but when a real challenge appears, they crumble because they have no experience of rising after falling. Now imagine a person who has failed many times, but has reflected, learned, and adapted. That person is unshakable. Their confidence is not built on appearances but on evidence. They know they can survive, adapt, and thrive no matter how many times they fall. This is the power that failure gives you when you allow it to teach you. It is also important to approach failure with honesty. Do not numb yourself to it or pretend it did not hurt. Feel the sting, but do not let it define you. Feel the pain, but also recognize the doorway it opens. Ask yourself not, why did this happen to me? But, what is this trying to show me? This simple shift turns failure from an enemy into a teacher. It makes you curious rather than bitter. It makes you active rather than defeated. As you continue to grow, you begin to see patterns in your failures. Maybe you lacked preparation or discipline or patience. Maybe you rushed the process. Maybe you doubted yourself and hesitated. Each realization is a treasure. It shows you exactly where to focus your energy, exactly which habits to change, exactly which fears to release. Without failure, you would not have this map. Without failure, you would not know where to grow. Let this understanding settle deep within you. Every time you fail, take a breath and remind yourself that this is not the end. It is a transition. It is a stepping stone. It is a test designed to shape you into someone wiser and stronger. The greatest people you admire in any field have all walked through the fire of failure. They were guided by it, trained by it, transformed by it. You can do the same. When you stop running from failure and start learning from it, you turn pain into power, confusion into clarity, and setbacks into stepping stones. In this way, you will not only recover from each fall, you will rise as a more complete version of yourself, ready to embrace the next challenge with courage and grace. Every setback carries a lesson that success alone cannot teach. When everything is working in your favor, it feels good, it feels validating, but it does not often demand deep reflection. Success can hide weaknesses, blind spots, and habits that are quietly holding you back. It can make you think you have mastered everything when, in reality, you have simply not yet been tested. A setback, however, strips away the illusion. It exposes your limits, your assumptions, and your patterns. It shows you exactly where you need to grow, and in doing so it becomes one of the most powerful teachers you will ever have. When you encounter a setback, your first instinct may be to resist it, to label it unfair or undeserved. But hidden beneath that pain is a mirror reflecting who you are in the moment. It reveals how you react under stress, how you handle disappointment, and how deeply you believe in your own capacity to rise again. These insights do not arrive when everything is easy. They only appear when you are forced to confront difficulty. This is why setbacks teach lessons success never could. They take you beyond the surface and invite you into your inner world, where the real transformation begins. Think of your life as a training ground. In training, you do not only practice what you are already good at, you push into areas that are uncomfortable so your skills can expand. A setback functions in the same way. It pushes you into the uncomfortable zone of self-awareness. It forces you to slow down, examine your decisions, and find the courage to adjust. Without this process, you might continue repeating the same mistakes, unaware of the weaknesses you carry. With it, you become more disciplined, more resilient, and more capable of facing whatever comes next. Consider how setbacks sharpen your focus. When you succeed easily, it is tempting to drift into complacency. You stop questioning your methods, you stop refining your approach, and you assume that what worked once will work forever. A setback interrupts that comfort. It reminds you that growth is a continuous process, and that every level of success demands a new level of skill, awareness, and commitment. This lesson cannot be learned in a moment of triumph. It can only be learned when something does not go as planned, and you are forced to adapt. Setbacks also develop humility. They teach you to respect the process rather than rush it. They remind you that no matter how skilled or experienced you are, there will always be more to learn. This humility is not weakness, it is strength. It grounds you in reality and prevents arrogance from blinding you. When you embrace humility, you open yourself to learning from everyone and everything, which accelerates your growth far beyond what isolated success could offer. Another lesson hidden in setbacks is patience. Success often creates the illusion of control, but setbacks remind you that life has its own rhythm. They show you that progress is not always linear, that sometimes you must pause, recalibrate, and return stronger. This patience becomes an anchor during future challenges. Instead of panicking or giving up, you develop the habit of breathing, observing, and adjusting. Over time, this habit becomes one of your greatest advantages, allowing you to stay steady while others crumble under pressure. Setbacks also build resilience. Each time you face one and recover, you create a memory of your own strength. You prove to yourself that you can survive disappointment, learn from it, and rise again. These memories become a reservoir of confidence. When future challenges come, you will not be as shaken, because you have already walked through difficulty before. This type of confidence cannot be faked, and it cannot be given to you by success. It must be earned through experience. The power of setbacks lies in how you respond to them. If you treat them as punishment, you close yourself off from their lessons. If you treat them as an invitation, you begin to see them as teachers. Ask yourself what this moment is trying to reveal, what it is asking you to improve, and what it is showing you about your character. When you do this consistently, setbacks become stepping stones rather than stumbling blocks. In time, you may even begin to welcome setbacks as part of your path. Not because they are pleasant, but because you know the person you become after facing them will be stronger, wiser, and more prepared for the next stage of your journey. Every setback you encounter is shaping you into someone capable of handling more responsibility, more complexity, and more success. And that is why every setback carries a lesson that success alone cannot teach, because it builds within you the foundation of lasting growth and unshakable strength. Embracing mistakes builds resilience and self-awareness. When you allow yourself to truly see your mistakes instead of hiding from them, you open a doorway into a deeper understanding of who you are and how you move through the world. Most people fear mistakes because they believe mistakes define them. In reality, mistakes only reveal the areas where they have the chance to grow stronger. It is not the error itself, but your response to it that determines your future. If you reject mistakes, you also reject the lessons hidden inside them. If you embrace them, you begin to build a foundation of resilience and self-awareness that no external circumstance can shake. When you make a mistake, there is a moment of vulnerability. You feel exposed, perhaps embarrassed, maybe even ashamed. But that moment also carries immense power. It shows you your limits, your blind spots, your assumptions, and your habits. It shines a light on your patterns, the ones you would never see if everything went perfectly. This is why mistakes are so valuable. They act like a mirror held up to your character. You begin to see where you are impatient, where you are careless, where you are fearful, or where you still need discipline. Without mistakes, this information would stay hidden, and hidden weaknesses eventually break under pressure. Resilience grows naturally from this process. Each time you make a mistake and learn from it, you prove to yourself that you can recover. You discover that the sting of failure is temporary and that growth is permanent. Over time, this experience creates an inner toughness. You no longer panic when things go wrong because you have trained yourself to see beyond the immediate pain. This ability to keep moving, to adapt, and to persevere despite difficulty is the essence of resilience. It is like strengthening a muscle. Each mistake is a weight you lift. Each reflection after that mistake is a repetition. Slowly, without even realizing it, you are building strength. Self-awareness grows alongside resilience. Mistakes give you insight into your internal world. They show you how you think under stress, how you react when plans collapse, and how you treat yourself in moments of imperfection. This self-awareness becomes a compass. It guides you to make better choices, to manage your emotions, and to develop a deeper sense of empathy for others who are also struggling. With greater self-awareness, you begin to see your strengths and weaknesses clearly. You know what needs more focus, what needs more patience, and what deserves more attention. When you embrace mistakes, you also develop humility. You understand that no matter how skilled or experienced you are, there is always more to learn. This humility opens you to feedback, to guidance, and to collaboration. It removes the fear of being wrong and replaces it with curiosity. You stop asking, "How can I avoid mistakes?" and start asking, "What can I learn from this mistake?" That shift is powerful because it turns every experience into an opportunity for growth. This attitude creates a positive cycle. As you learn from mistakes, your resilience increases. As your resilience increases, your self-awareness deepens. As your self-awareness deepens, you make wiser choices. And as you make wiser choices, you build confidence rooted in reality, not in illusion. This confidence is steady because it is based on experience, not on pretending you are flawless. You become the kind of person who can handle challenges with calm and clarity, and that draws others to trust you, follow you, and learn from you. It is also worth noting that embracing mistakes changes your relationship with fear. When you no longer see mistakes as something to avoid at all costs, you become freer. You take bolder steps, explore new ideas, and push your limits because you know even if you fail, you will grow. This freedom unleashes creativity and innovation. It allows you to experience life fully without being paralyzed by the need to be perfect. Ultimately, embracing mistakes is about respect for the process of becoming. It is about understanding that the person you are today is not the final version of yourself. Each mistake you make is shaping you, refining you, and preparing you for something greater. This is how you cultivate resilience that cannot be broken and self-awareness that keeps you grounded no matter how high you climb. And this is why embracing mistakes builds resilience and self-awareness, because it transforms every stumble into a stepping stone on your journey of growth and strength. Learning from failure transforms pain into progress. Every time life throws an obstacle in your path, there is a choice to make. You can allow the pain to overwhelm you, or you can lean into it and ask what it is trying to teach you. Pain without reflection remains only pain, but pain with reflection becomes progress. This is the power hidden within failure. It does not simply break you. It invites you to break free from habits, assumptions, and limits that no longer serve you. In this way, learning from failure becomes a path of transformation, turning moments of defeat into stepping stones toward growth. When failure happens, it can feel like the end of your plans. The frustration, disappointment, and even shame may seem heavy enough to stop you. But beneath the surface of that emotional weight lies information you could never gain otherwise. Failure is feedback. It shows you which strategies do not work, which skills need sharpening, which attitudes hold you back. This feedback is direct and honest, something success rarely gives. Success can hide weaknesses, but failure reveals them without hesitation. If you have the courage to look at your mistakes instead of running from them, you uncover the exact areas where your growth is waiting. Transforming pain into progress requires a shift in mindset. Instead of seeing failure as proof of inadequacy, you see it as proof of effort. It means you are pushing beyond your comfort zone, testing your limits, and challenging yourself. This change in perspective is powerful. It allows you to approach pain with curiosity instead of fear, turning each experience into a lesson. You begin to see patterns in your setbacks. Perhaps you rushed. Perhaps you ignored warning signs. Perhaps you lacked focus or patience. Each realization is a key that unlocks a new door of understanding. With each door opened, your capacity for progress expands. The more you learn from failure, the more resilient you become. Pain stops feeling like a wall and starts feeling like a teacher. Instead of retreating, you step closer. Instead of feeling humiliated, you feel prepared. This resilience becomes a force inside you, a quiet strength that no outside circumstance can shake. It gives you patience when others panic, clarity when others become confused, and discipline when others quit. All of this is born from learning to see failure not as an enemy, but as an essential ally in your evolution. Progress is rarely a straight line. Often it is a spiral, bringing you back to similar challenges at a deeper level each time. By learning from your past failures, you begin to navigate this spiral with awareness. You no longer repeat mistakes blindly. You recognize old patterns and choose new actions. This conscious engagement with your own growth accelerates your progress far beyond what surface-level success ever could. With each cycle of failure and learning, you become sharper, wiser, and more grounded. Learning from failure also deepens your self-awareness. Pain has a way of stripping away pretense. It shows you who you are under pressure, how you react when things fall apart, and what you truly value. These insights help you align your actions with your deeper goals. They help you understand your strengths and your weaknesses, which in turn helps you build habits and systems that support your success. Without this self-awareness, progress is accidental. With it, progress becomes intentional. Another gift of learning from failure is empathy. When you have walked through difficulty yourself, you develop compassion for others who are struggling. You stop judging their mistakes and start encouraging their efforts. This empathy strengthens your relationships, your leadership, and your ability to inspire others. In this way, your private lessons become a public light, guiding others through their own storms. The transformation of pain into progress does not happen overnight. It is a practice. Each time you fail, you pause, breathe, and ask what can be learned. You apply that lesson and move forward, even if only by a small step. Over time, these small steps accumulate into profound growth. What once felt like a crushing defeat becomes a pivotal moment you look back on with gratitude, because it taught you something you could not have learned any other way. To learn from failure is to honor your own journey. It is to recognize that your mistakes do not define you but refine you. Every setback is an invitation to rise higher, to become stronger, and to move closer to your true potential. When you commit to this path, pain no longer stops you, it shapes you. It becomes the fire that tempers your spirit, the hammer that forges your character, and the catalyst that turns your struggles into achievements. And this is how learning from failure transforms pain into progress, guiding you from who you were to who you are capable of becoming. Failure refines discipline, patience, and inner strength. Every time you stumble or face disappointment, it feels as if the ground has been pulled from beneath your feet, but within that collapse lies a rare chance to grow. Success may bring a sense of pride, but it does not always demand focus or endurance. Failure, on the other hand, strips away illusions and forces you to build your foundation again, stronger and steadier than before. This is where discipline begins to form. When you fall short of your goal, you learn that desire alone is not enough. You must commit to consistent action, even when motivation fades, even when no one is watching. This quiet consistency is the heart of discipline. Discipline is not a quality you are born with. It is a habit you forge each time you rise after falling. When failure shows you your weak points, it is giving you a blueprint of where to direct your energy. Maybe you lacked preparation. Maybe you were distracted. Or maybe you underestimated the time and effort required. Seeing these truths clearly is uncomfortable, but it also gives you power. It allows you to rebuild your approach with precision. You become deliberate about your routines, intentional about your focus, and careful with your time. Over time, this attention to details strengthens your self-control, making it easier to follow through on commitments and achieve long-term goals. Without failure, this level of discipline would remain hidden. Patience grows alongside discipline. Failure teaches you that progress is not instant. It breaks the illusion of overnight success and replaces it with the reality of gradual improvement. When you fail, you see firsthand how long mastery takes. You begin to respect the process rather than trying to rush it. Each time you return to your goal after a setback, you develop the ability to wait, to endure, and to continue working despite not yet seeing results. This patience protects you from frustration and burnout. It also deepens your understanding of timing. You start to sense when to push and when to pause, when to adjust your strategy, and when to stay the course. This balance is only learned through repeated experience with both failure and persistence. Inner strength is the quiet force that holds discipline and patience together. It is built in the unseen moments when you doubt yourself but keep moving forward. Every setback tests your mental and emotional endurance. It asks whether you will let your identity crumble under pressure, or whether you will rebuild yourself stronger. Inner strength is not loud or dramatic. It is steady and unshakable. It allows you to face criticism without losing your sense of self. It allows you to handle rejection without collapsing into despair. It allows you to believe in your future even when the present feels full of obstacles. This kind of strength cannot be inherited or purchased. It must be earned by walking through failure with courage and reflection. The beauty of this process is that discipline, patience, and inner strength do not develop separately. They grow together, feeding one another. As you cultivate discipline, you gain patience. As you cultivate patience, your inner strength expands. And as your inner strength expands, it reinforces your discipline. This creates a cycle of growth that continues long after the initial failure. You become the kind of person who can withstand pressure, adapt to change, and remain focused on your goals despite setbacks. This is not just about achievement. It is about becoming unshakable in your character. Failure also refines your focus on what truly matters. When things go wrong, distractions lose their grip. You see clearly which habits serve you and which ones sabotage you. You stop wasting energy on what is superficial and redirect it toward what is meaningful. This clarity simplifies your path and gives your efforts more impact. Discipline then becomes easier, patience feels natural, and inner strength grows because you are no longer scattered. You are aligned with your purpose. Another important shift happens in your relationship with challenges. Instead of fearing them, you begin to welcome them as opportunities to test and strengthen your character. You stop viewing failure as a final verdict and start seeing it as training. This mindset not only transforms how you approach your goals, but also how you live your life. Challenges no longer shrink you, they sharpen you. Setbacks no longer discourage you, they shape you. Every person you admire who has achieved something remarkable has walked through this process. They have been humbled by failure, disciplined by routine, matured by patience, and forged by inner strength. They did not escape difficulty. They embraced it and learned from it. You have the same ability. Each time you face failure and choose to learn from it, you are sculpting a stronger version of yourself, one who can hold their vision steady no matter how many times they are tested. And this is how failure refines discipline, patience, and inner strength, guiding you toward becoming the person you are meant to be. Each fall prepares you to rise wiser and stronger. Every time you experience a setback, you are not simply being pushed down. You are being trained for your next ascent. Falling is not a sign that you are weak or incapable. It is a sign that you are stretching beyond your current limits, exploring new territory, and daring to grow. In this sense, every fall is an initiation into a deeper level of understanding. It is the ground on which wisdom grows, and it is the weight that forges true strength. When you accept this truth, you stop seeing failure as an ending and begin to see it as the quiet preparation for your future self. Each fall brings with it a pause, a moment to gather your thoughts, to evaluate your direction, and to see what was hidden when you were moving too fast. In that stillness you gain clarity. You start to notice patterns that were invisible before, habits that drain your energy, assumptions that blind you, and weaknesses you have ignored. Without falling, you would continue forward unaware, building your future on an unstable foundation. With falling, you see exactly where the cracks are, and you gain the chance to rebuild stronger. This process of reflection and rebuilding is what transforms a painful experience into a source of wisdom. Rising wiser means carrying forward the lessons you have earned. It means not repeating the same mistakes simply because you are eager to succeed quickly. It means learning patience, practicing humility, and developing self-awareness. Every fall strips away layers of ego, teaching you that confidence does not come from pretending to be flawless, but from knowing you can recover, adapt, and try again. Wisdom grows in the space between falling and rising, in the moments when you look inward and confront your own choices with honesty. Rising stronger means your character becomes more resilient. Your emotional core grows steadier. You stop being thrown off course by temporary setbacks. You develop a quiet inner power that allows you to face difficulty without panic, to move with intention rather than reaction. Strength built in this way is not the kind that shows off. It is the kind that endures. It is a steady presence inside you that cannot be easily shaken by criticism, rejection, or disappointment. This kind of strength makes future challenges less intimidating because you have already proven to yourself that you can survive and grow through difficulty. The process of falling and rising is like tempering steel. Each exposure to heat and pressure refines the material, making it tougher and more flexible at the same time. In your own life, each fall tests your courage, and each rise deepens your capacity. This cycle is not a punishment but a preparation. It is shaping you into someone capable of handling more responsibility, more complexity, and more impact. When you understand this, you begin to welcome the lessons that come with falling, even though they are uncomfortable. You see them as part of your training rather than as a verdict on your worth. Falling also teaches you compassion. When you have felt the sting of failure yourself, you develop empathy for others who are struggling. This empathy becomes part of your wisdom. It softens your edges and allows you to lead, mentor, or support others from a place of understanding rather than judgment. In this way, your falls not only prepare you to rise, but also prepare you to lift others as you climb. Your personal lessons become a collective benefit, creating ripples of strength and inspiration in those around you. Each time you rise after falling, you reinforce a powerful belief within yourself that you are not defined by a single moment. You begin to trust your own ability to recover. This trust becomes a source of confidence more stable than any external praise. It allows you to take bigger risks, pursue larger dreams, and face uncertainty with courage, because you know even if you fall again, you will rise wiser and stronger once more. The key is to remain open during the fall, to resist the urge to numb yourself or close off from learning. Reflect honestly, adjust your course, and rise slowly but steadily. Over time, this practice will transform your setbacks into a training ground for resilience, clarity, and maturity. You will find that each fall has been building a foundation beneath you, preparing you for heights you could not have reached otherwise. And this is how each fall prepares you to rise wiser and stronger, shaping you into someone capable of meeting life's challenges with calm power and unshakable resolve. True mastery comes from turning failure into your greatest teacher. Mastery is not born from avoiding mistakes. It is born from walking through them with awareness, humility, and persistence. Every time you fail, you are presented with a living lesson that no textbook or lecture can give you. Failure reveals the fine details of your effort, your focus, and your discipline. It shows you the hidden areas where your preparation was incomplete or your understanding was shallow. This is the material from which mastery is forged, the raw experience that sharpens your skills and deepens your wisdom. When you allow failure to teach you, you begin to see learning as a continuous process rather than a destination. Each setback becomes an invitation to refine your technique, to improve your habits, and to strengthen your mindset. You stop chasing the illusion of perfection and start embracing the power of progress. This shift turns every mistake into a step forward. The very thing that once discouraged you becomes the fuel for your development. Over time, these steps accumulate, building a depth of knowledge and ability that cannot be shaken by temporary setbacks. Mastery also requires humility, and nothing teaches humility better than failure. When you succeed without effort, it is easy to become overconfident and blind to your own weaknesses. Failure, however, clears the fog. It reminds you that no matter how skilled or experienced you are, there is always more to learn. This humility is not a burden, it is a gateway. It keeps your mind open to feedback, your heart open to growth, and your actions aligned with your deeper purpose. Without humility, you stop improving. With humility, you become a lifelong student, and this is the path of true mastery. Turning failure into a teacher also builds patience. Mastery does not appear overnight. It is the product of years of refinement, countless corrections, and repeated attempts. Each time you fail and rise again, you develop the endurance to stay with your craft even when results are slow. This patience allows you to focus on quality rather than speed, on depth rather than appearance. Over time, this steady effort shapes your skills into something precise and powerful. People may only see the finished result, but you will know it was forged through persistence and courage in the face of failure. Another gift of turning failure into your teacher is resilience. You stop fearing mistakes and start using them as tools. Instead of withdrawing when things go wrong, you lean in with curiosity. You examine your process, your decisions, and your mindset. This resilience makes you unshakable. It allows you to recover quickly and to adapt with creativity. You are no longer derailed by criticism or rejection because you have trained yourself to see every challenge as part of your training. This resilience built over time becomes a defining trait of true mastery. Mastery also involves self-awareness. Each failure forces you to confront your habits, your fears, and your motivations. It shows you where you hesitate, where you rush, and where you lose focus. By paying attention to these signals, you develop an intimate understanding of yourself. You learn what environments bring out your best, what routines sustain your progress, and what mindset keeps you balanced. This self-awareness gives you control over your own development. Instead of drifting from one effort to another, you act with intention, and intention accelerates growth. As you transform failure into your teacher, you also become a source of inspiration to others. People around you begin to see that mastery is not about being flawless, but about being committed. They watch you recover from setbacks with grace and determination, and they learn from your example. In this way, your private lessons ripple outward, helping others find courage in their own struggles. Your story becomes proof that failure is not the end, but the pathway to excellence. Ultimately, turning failure into your greatest teacher changes how you experience life itself. You stop measuring your worth by your mistakes and start measuring it by your willingness to grow. You stop waiting for the perfect moment and start creating it through practice, reflection, and persistence. Every fall becomes an opportunity to rise, every setback an invitation to learn, every disappointment a stepping stone to mastery. This way of living frees you from fear and fills you with purpose, because you know that everything, even your failures, is working to refine you. And this is why true mastery comes from turning failure into your greatest teacher, shaping you into someone who not only succeeds, but understands the deeper meaning of growth and perseverance. Every word we have explored together circles back to one truth: failure is not the end of the path, but the very soil where strength, wisdom, and character grow. Each setback you face, each mistake you make, and each fall you endure is an invitation to rise sharper, calmer, and more capable than before. If you can embrace failure as a teacher rather than fear it as an enemy, you will discover patience where there was frustration, discipline where there was chaos, and unshakable inner strength where there was doubt. Let every lesson gained from your struggles become a tool you carry into your future. You are far more resilient, adaptable, and powerful than you can imagine right now. Good luck as you walk your own path with courage. And thank you for sharing this moment of reflection and growth with me.